These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are recording on Monday, August 19th, a couple days after. I was going to say a couple days after something, then I realized there was no like significant event that this is a couple days after. I think I was just lost to where to go with the intro. And so I was like,
I was going to say days after the last time we did a podcast.
That's basically what I was going to say. That I remember that was useless information. But we're here in the middle of the off season, as you can tell by the rambling. With random stuff to talk about. There's actually Celtics news this week, so I'm glad stuff keeps trickling out just in time. Feels like we're like hanging on, like we're gonna have nothing to talk about the next pod, and something else just like comes out randomly, and then something else random, then something else random. So we're like scraping by these little things of news. But how you doing, Sam?
Doing all right. Like you said, good show ahead. Interesting news. New candidate to buy, maybe not a new candidate, but more buzz around a candidate to buy the Celtics. Former Celtic joins Philly. Jack predicted all the Celtics games this year. And does Jrue Holiday belong in the Hall of Fame? NBA stuff. We read your emails, Reddit posts of the day, and then the rat list. We've got all of it. It's going to be a good show. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like. Hit the bell. We have shows every single morning. Full pods are Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Game recaps are in the morning after each game, and other videos are coming out in between to keep you busy. Don't want to miss any of it. Subscribe. But yes, we're here. Happy August.
Yeah, we're here. And another thing, we're testing new thumbnails. So YouTube has this feature where you can put multiple thumbnails on a video, and it'll automatically change it to the one that is doing the best. So if you see us in a new thumbnail, just know other people might not be getting the same thumbnail. So, check it out, see which one you like. I can see like the data, which gets more it's based on like watch time. So whichever thumbnail gets the most watch time, that's the one we go with. So I can see all that stuff, but just know we might be showing up on your feed with a different thumbnail because we're testing some stuff out. But anyway, starting with that ownership rumor, Bill Simmons mentioned on his podcast that Jeff Bezos has been linked to the Celtics. It could end up buying the team. So Bill Simmons said on his podcast, which is named the Bill Simmons podcast. There's a name for that. There's a word for
that.
Self-titled, like word for something named...
His own podcast.
No. There's like a fancy word. An eponym. Eponymous. I can't say the word, but eponymous is like named of himself. Anyways, Bill said
in the sheet if you want to play the clip.
Okay, yeah, perfect. We'll play the clip of him saying. I didn't even know there was like a clip on social media. I just read the quotes that were aggregated everywhere. But yeah, Bill Simmons said that Jeff Bezos could end up buying the Celtics, so we can listen to him say exactly that. So let's see.
The Celtics are for sale. And in the last few days, there's been some, I think, legitimate buzz about Jeff Bezos buying the Celtics. And I think it's real. I think he's going to be one of the suitors. I happen to have a bunch of information on this. The league wants $6 billion for the team, for the Celtics. $6 billion. It's a crazy price, but they're probably going to get it. They want the $6 billion because they want expansion teams in Seattle and Vegas. And then Mexico City's kind of looming as a third team, but they want to get $6 billion apiece for the two franchises for expansion, which would mean a check of $400 million to every NBA owner, all 30, which got me thinking, why would Jeff Bezos, when he's looking at the Celtics, what is he seeing? What does he want? Is the play for him some sort of Amazon stadium? Is the ultimate play for this to build some sort of state-of-the-art stadium that's never been done before for concerts and for basketball, and it's like the Amazon Dome, and then that just becomes another thing he did? But it's all connected with what they want from the expansion teams. This $6 billion price, they want to get to that price and above. That's what Irv Grossbeck, the 90-year-old guy who owns the biggest stake of the Celtics, who started this process, he wants the biggest price. We'll see what a big crown jewel the Celtics are. We're about to find out.
All right.
So,
yes.
Couple different points from Bill's take. First one, the Celtics have a lease with TD Garden through 2036. So no new arena will be played in for at least the next 12 seasons. They are going to be playing at North Station, on Causeway Street, at TD Garden, hopefully hanging more banners.
Also,
Go ahead.
Just on top of that, while you're there, TD Bank has a 20-year extension to be called TD Garden through 2045. So there's no
Okay.
like another thing can't be renamed.
And
to
for those that
James
don't know,
Harden.
the Jacobs family that owns the Bruins owns the TD Garden. That is so Bezos
Yeah.
will not be buying the Celtics and just calling TD Garden Amazon. Garden.
Well, unless he says, "Hey, here's a lot of money. So fuck your deal. I'm getting in there." Which, I mean, second richest man in the world, for those who don't know, almost $200 billion net worth,
If
could
they called it
probably do it.
the Garden of Amazon or something, that would go hard. That would be a hard.
That would be kind of sick. That would be kind of sick. Wouldn't complain. But if your biggest concern with new Celtics ownership is willing to pay to keep the team together, probably pretty good option here, considering, like I mentioned, he is the second richest man in the world according to Forbes, $195 billion net worth. Would be the
Not
richest
bad.
owner. Would be the richest owner in sports, considering he is the second richest man in the world, and Elon Musk doesn't own a sports team, so he would be the richest owner in all of sports.
Oh, imagine if Elon bought the Celtics. I feel like that'd be very bad.
Terrible.
I feel like
absolutely terrible.
So I wrote about this for Celtics blog, and I finished the piece with, if you're going to buy the Celtics, there is a responsibility that comes with the Celtics, and people who buy the Celtics typically do not have the mindset of, we're just here to make money. The Celtics are not really a team that you buy just to make money. I believe Wick has said, like, it's not something that you make money with, really. I mean, you've vastly increased the worth of your share since they bought it, but like season to season, they probably have to pay out more than they make, just especially with the current roster. So to get to what I was originally saying, you don't buy this team to make money. You buy this team to add to the history, to become part of it. And I'm sure there is a money-making interest involved, but there is a commitment to excellence that goes along with buying the Celtics. And that goes back to what you said, where Bezos has deep pockets. He's well equipped to pay a luxury tax if the team decides that they're going to compete while he is the owner. And that is a positive thing for the Celtics. The number one good Jeff Bezos thing is he is not Fenway Sports Group. You do not want Fenway Sports Group buying the Celtics, because Fenway Sports Group has proven to be a group of vampires. John Henry came in. He bought the Red Sox, I believe, in 2002. They had success right away. They paid. Then they cheaped out. And then they had some more success, and they cheaped out again. And they've been cheap ever since. All Red Sox fans do is talk about how cheap this team is, how they don't want to make trades at the deadline, how they don't want to add pitching in the offseason. And the Red Sox, over the last couple seasons, I mean, they win the World Series in 2018. They run it back in 2019. It doesn't go well, and then they trade Mookie Betts. And then the deconstruction of the championship roster really gets underway. And then in 2021, they make the championship series, and it was a team that people really felt like they could believe in. They let Kyle Schwarber walk. The team doesn't completely stay together. And then you're at the current state where they are kind of in an up-and-coming mode. This is not how at the Red Sox. But
relatively speaking,
to put it in perspective, they drained the Red Sox. They've kind of drained Liverpool, who they also own. Liverpool fans cannot stand John Henry either.
Brentford just bought a Liverpool guy. Yoink.
Yeah,
See you later.
I'm sure they did. They love to sell. But overall, Bezos far better than Fenway Sports Group. The last point I wanted to bring up with Bezos and the Celtics, this is older news, but just to tie it all together, shortly after the Celtics sale was announced last month, or the month before, I think it was last month, it came out that Bezos sold like $6 million in Amazon, or $6 billion in Amazon stocks, like right when the news came out. So people may say coincidence, people may not feel coincidence, but there's just a little bit more fuel in the fire to Jeff Bezos maybe being the next owner of the Celtics. There also is the wrinkle that Amazon is located in, or headquartered in, Seattle. So if they get an expansion team, it may make more sense for all of the Amazon Arena and Amazon branding to go on with a Seattle franchise instead of
that is
Boston
true.
franchise.
But if you're paying $6 billion for a team, I'd rather buy one that's really damn good with really great branding already than.
Are the expansion teams going to be that price? Do you know?
Well, that's what Bill Simmons said. He said they're looking to get $6 billion for each team. So if you're going to spend,
he said a lot.
if you're going to spend $6 billion on a team, I'd rather buy one with the already like cemented branding. I mean, I know the
Agreed.
Sonics have branding, but it doesn't touch what the Celtics
Sonics
have,
trying to
but
get that college
um,
football 25 bump when they come
they
back.
are.
Merch is going to fly off the shelves. Tickets
It
are going to
is.
fly off the shelves. But then there's going to be a responsibility to deliver on that product.
It's true.
Isn't
It's true.
one of the reasons why that team left Seattle is that they didn't feel the arena was up to standard? So that could be another avenue for him to do the Amazon Garden of Amazon, right? Up in Seattle instead of here.
Potentially, but I don't know. We'll see. I trust Bill Simmons, so it sounds like Bezos is an option to buy the Celtics. I don't really know anybody else who would be an option. Where's Jeff Bezos from? Is he from Seattle, or is that
He's from New
excuse me?
Mexico.
Is that just where they are located?
Well, he was born in New Mexico. I truly don't
Okay.
know where he grew up. He has some sort of connection up in Seattle because that's where the company started. And the
He
company
was
started in his
born-
garage.
Yeah, born in New Mexico, raised in Houston and Miami. So take it, whatever.
Culture.
Deep pockets. That's kind of it. Probably would keep the team together. That's a good thing. That's all there is. But Jeff Bezos is the name to keep an eye on for sure. Next thing, former Celtic Guerschon Yabusele, who we did a video on recently, signed with the Philadelphia 76ers on a one-year deal. Philly brings in Yabu, Dancing Bears back in the NBA, but at what cost? Joins Philadelphia. It kind of feels like the opposite of Hustle, the prospect, like, ditches the Celtics for the Sixers, even though the Celtics weren't going to bring him back in the first place. Good signing for Philly. They didn't really have much size at the forward position. I looked at it for Hardwood Houdini. Yabusele is probably like the best player they have on the roster now to guard the Jays outside of Paul George. Well, there's Paul George, Caleb Martin, and Kelly Oubre, but Paul George is older. Caleb Martin's undersized, and Oubre's usually just been better at guarding guards.
He's a little undersized. physically.
Yeah, get a little more size in there to throw at the Jays. Obviously, probably not going to be like the primary guy you throw at them. Like, you'll probably go with the other three first, but a little more size. He's one of their bigger forwards. He's big muscle dude. He's listed at 6'8", 260, so he's a big boy still. So you get that guy in there, get a little bit more size on the roster. I'm happy for Yabu. It just sucks that it's Philly.
Borderline worst case scenario.
Lakers.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers would be the worst. I would hate to see LeBron get a guy. Philly's weird because they are a big rival, but they're like the little brother rival that you don't take serious. So like, this is all well and good, but like, you still half feel like you can root for Yabu because you don't see him as a real threat.
Well, does Yabu hate Embiid? Is the conspiracy? You have to
Because
go
he's
down
French.
because he ditched
He
the French
turned his
national
back
team.
on the French team.
Mhm.
It would be nice if this was a sabotage.
Would
Yabu
be
goes
cool.
over there to defend his country.
Do you see somebody created a Guerschon Yabusele Muse Twitter account, tweeted like good to
Already?
be back something? Yeah, they tweeted like good to be back and like a picture of Yabu, and I think people thought it was himself because it got 57,000 likes. I think people just assumed it was the real
Remind
Yabu.
me, are you in or out on the Muse accounts?
I think they're dumb, but I don't really care. Like they don't bother me. I don't really have an opinion. They're whatever.
I remember
I
somebody
think they're.
going off about hating them. I just don't remember who it was.
I think that was it Noah or was it? I think it was somebody on the round table. It might have been Justin,
Maybe.
Cam. I don't know. I think it was somebody
I
on the
bet
round table.
Turp will
But
put together a good rant about hating the Muse accounts.
I don't think Turp hates anything. I've not heard that guy be negative.
gotta fix
once
him.
in my life.
We got to get him
but-
set straight.
Nah, just let him enjoy life. Unlike you, you guys can be opposites. No, but I don't really mind the Muse accounts. They're whatever to me. It is what it is. Unless they're like spreading misinformation or like actively trying to copy people, then you know what I'm saying, like that. I don't really have a problem.
The most adult quality I think I have is I hate misinformation, especially in the basketball space, which is probably the least dangerous space for misinformation to be.
Yeah,
But,
30K likes on this. That's crazy.
When I forget who it was, one of those fake NBA aggregate accounts, and they were like, Jason Tatum like threw a tantrum in the locker room or like was actively pissed off about not playing in Team USA's whatever game against Serbia, and like everybody was like, he should be, and I'm like, this is not real. Just look at the handle. It's not that hard.
Yeah, just I've gotten friends DMing me like fake Woj accounts before, and I'll be like,
Yep.
dude, take a look,
Delete-
man. Like
delete your account.
one sent me one that said Blake Griffin is re-signing with the Celtics like last summer, and I like at first like I don't know because it's just a tweet and I don't see the handle, so I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I click on it and I'm like, sir, and he goes, what? And I'm like, dude, come on, like take a little bit of a deeper dive there. But yeah, Yabu's back in the league, good for him. Tough that it's with Philly, but so is life, I suppose. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the Prize Picks community today. Preseason football is underway, but you can also pick more or less on 2024 season stats on Prize Picks. Will Patrick Mahomes throw for more or less than 4,300 yards? Will CJ Stroud's sophomore season result in more or less than 4,150 yards? Enter your season picks before week 1 kicks off. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Me and Sam use Prize Picks all season long during the Celtics playoff run, especially in the finals, Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern semifinals. In the first round, we were picking more or less on Tatum dunks, on Jrue Holiday threes, and always pick the less on the opposing star just to add some spice to the game. Download the Prize Picks apps today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game. Next thing, like Sam mentioned, I predicted every single Celtics game of the season for an article on Harvey Houdini. How do you want to do this? Do you want me to read it? Do you want me to read you the game you say win or loss, and you can give yours as well, or what do we want to do?
I don't think we should do all 82 games. What I will ask
I have them grouped by like 5, so I can read you 5 games, whatever. Like I don't have like a detailed analysis of every game. I have like 2 sentences for every game for the sake of the article, but I can tell you the losses because there's far fewer of those than the wins.
What was the final record that you you found yourself?
59-23.
59-23. You think they'll be worse than last season, which is fair because they are dealing with Porzingis being gone for half the season.
Mm-hmm.
They are dealing with collective fatigue with Jason, Derek, and Jrue all having played through the Olympics. Well, played. And I guess just kind of dealing with the collective fatigue as a team, having played so deep into June.
Yep.
What is the most controversial game that you think you put as a loss? Like if you were to tell me, and I would be like, fuck off.
I have them losing to the Pistons.
Well, that very fair.
I have their first loss of the season at Indiana October 30th.
So that means they will beat the Knicks on ring night.
I think they'll beat
Milwaukee.
the Knicks, they'll beat the Bucks, they'll beat the Pistons and Wizards in those first 2 games, but I think they lose to Indiana because I think they play fast, no KP, wanting to get back. Like the Pacers just play them well, so I feel like that'll be like a letdown spot for
the
Celtics. I'm losing to the Hawks on November 4th. I just think it's a random game that they would fuck up somehow. I don't know why.
Okay.
I just
they
picked
did
it
lose
like
to
arbitrarily
Atlanta last year. Atlanta will no longer have DeJounte Murray. Atlanta will probably be considerably worse.
I said here, like I said, it's a weird one, but this could be a Hawks win. Like I don't know why. I just feel like they're gonna fuck it up early. You got to pick some of them. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not gonna win every game you think they'll win. So I tried to go through and say like, okay, maybe this is a letdown. I have them losing to the Bucks on November 10th just because they're in Milwaukee. Bucks will want to get back.
Did not
makes
play
sense.
Well, last year at all.
Yeah. So that would put them at 8-3 after that. Next loss I have wouldn't be till 16-4 would be a loss to the Cavs on the 1st in Cleveland. Cleveland plays them well in the regular season. Another one I was like, okay, maybe they could drop it. Then I have them losing to the Pistons on the 4th. Pistons played them well at home last year. Pistons are a better team this year. Again, you're just going to lose some games that you don't expect to lose. There's that. Then I have them, let's see, I have them Marcus beating them in the Grizzlies return to TD Garden. Ja Morant's back. Grizzlies are going to be a much better team next year. I think they might get jumped by, we think the Grizzlies are bad because of last year. Can lose that one. And then I have them losing in the NBA Cup semis right before the
To
finals.
whoever.
Yeah, I just
They'll
I don't
lose.
think
They'll
that-
lose
yeah,
to whoever, no matter what. That's a
I just-
hater pick, Jack.
I just predicted them to lose in the NBA Cup because I don't know. I just don't think they'll care enough about the NBA Cup. I think some other teams around the league will care more about the NBA Cup, and I think they'll just not win it. So
That's
I picked the
just
semis.
objectively, that is probably the most controversial pick because, I mean, I know.
Do you
your
think they'll win the
angle
NBA
makes
Cup?
sense.
Do you think
Do I
they'll win the
think
NBA
they'll
Cup?
win the NBA Cup? I think the Celtics have a extremely good chance to win the NBA Cup.
I have them as a top 4 team in the NBA Cup.
Yes.
So
And what I'm about to say also coincides with your point. They are the favorite to win the group.
Yeah.
Should they win the group, they will have a favorable matchup in the quarterfinal.
I have them go undefeated in the groups. Undefeated.
Yes.
So
It's funny to pick them to any team to lose.
it's
in
just
a game
all
that
arbitrary.
You do not
yeah.
know who they will be playing yet is funny.
Yeah. It's just all arbitrary. So I'm like, you know what? They'll lose in the semis, and that'll be it. So that's 7 losses on the year. And then I'm losing in Orlando on the 29th. I have December being a rough stretch for them. Right before Kristaps comes back, they'll like wear down a little bit. Then right as he comes back, it'll be a little rocky because they'll get used to it again.
In Indiana or
In Orlando on the
the
23rd.
23rd. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
My bad.
My bad.
You know
and
what would
then
have been funny is if you went through real in depth and you were like, I think they're going to lose to this team in the semifinal. Like this is
That'd
the
be
team that will take
far
them
too
out.
much work. Far too much work. I'm losing to Indy on the 29th. It's 9 losses. I have them losing at Denver on the 7th in Denver.
That's a fair prediction. You think they'll win the rest of the West, the tough games in that week?
They'll
Beat Mini. They'll beat OKC too.
Yeah, I have them winning against Minnesota and OKC and Houston.
You think they'll win the back-to-back, huh?
Yeah. I do.
Respect.
Yeah. Next loss isn't until 32-11, losing in Golden State. Just Golden State play them well. Yeah, they play. I mean, in Golden State.
They lost there last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Steph's gonna do something crazy. I've been losing against the Rockets on the 27th. I feel like the Rockets are like a Pistons, like another weird one where it's just like they're better than they were last year. You're gonna lose some letdown games regardless. I picked that one as a letdown game because the Rockets, I think, are a better team than people anticipate. I don't know. I just picked it arbitrarily.
I think they will be better. But
I
I also think like coming home off a long road trip, I think them losing in Dallas is more likely than Houston. Because
maybe
than losing versus Houston here rather. Because by the time they get to Dallas, they could be like, fuck this.
They stomped Dallas though. Like they always
beat the piss out of Dallas considerably over the last seasons. They're what?
So
total 8-1 against Dallas.
Yeah. So I just picked that arbitrarily. Again, I mean, all of these are arbitrary picks. Like they're all like whatever. Like you can't pick exactly what's going to happen and when. Pick them losing in Philly on the 2nd of February. I had them losing in Miami on the 10th and against the Spurs on the 12th. That's their first back-to-back loss all season.
At the Knicks.
No, I think they'll beat the Knicks all year except for the last game. I think I have them losing the last one. The Knicks. I think they played the Knicks well in the regular season. I haven't beaten the Knicks until the last game. But yeah, Heat, Spurs, 10th and 12th of February. I have them losing their first back-to-back of the year. Just because I think Wembanyama's a damn good player. I think he'll like surprise them a little bit. And then in Miami, like you're not losing, like losing back-to-backs is rare for the Celtics, but it's not impossible because it happened multiple times last year. So I didn't want to go the whole time without picking a back-to-back loss, and so I just arbitrarily picked that one.
They could be nasty on back-to-backs again this year. Weren't they
maybe
exceptionally good at them last year?
I think so, yeah. I'm losing to OKC on March 12th. I don't think they'll sweep OKC. I think OKC is too good, so I picked them to beat OKC. We'll go 1-1 in the season. I've been losing at Sacramento on the 24th. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I think they play Sacramento really well. Yeah,
they better
Sacramento
not fucking lose that game.
I just
that game is
randomly.
not for 8 months, and I'm already mad.
Why?
Because it's a 10 p.m. tip-off on a Monday. If I'm staying up to watch you play at 10 p.m., you better fucking win.
Well, I picked them to lose. And then I picked them. Oh, I picked losing 3 in a row here to Kings, Suns, Spurs, because I think it's unlikely that they don't go the whole season without losing 3 in a row again. Because I think
if
so
they
rare.
lose 2 in a row on 10 p.m. starts,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
think
be
they
a bitch
lose.
to deal with.
I think they lose those 3 in a row because I don't think it's. I mean, not losing 3 in a row in a single season is crazy, and they did it last year, so I don't think they'll do it again.
I
That's
think
like a
if they
random thing,
lose a
but
10 p.m. game or later ever, anybody that watches should get $50.
all right. Well, we're not giving it to them, so you can personally if you'd like.
No, the team should have to give it to all
Oh,
of us.
I'm sorry. April 2nd versus Miami I have as a loss. I have them losing a lot to end the season. And then I think I have them losing Knicks, Magic back to back. And then the last game of the season against the Hornets, I have them losing as well. I just think they'll slow down because they didn't slow down last year. I think they will this year. For whether it's resting guys, whether it's, whatever.
You don't think the Bus One boys will cook?
No, I think they'll lose some games down the year because they got some tough games on the year. Like Knicks. Well, my theory was all of those teams like Kings, Suns, Spurs, Heat, Knicks, Magic are all going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and maybe the Hornets. I said like on the off chance the Hornets are going for the play-in. Like all of those teams are probably still going to be rolling out their starters, and the Celtics probably
we should clarify playoff position.
Playoff position, yeah.
Jack does not think that the Knicks will be a 9-10 seed.
Of course,
it would be sweet if they were. But
I think all those guys will be playing real players. The Celtics won't be. And
yes,
that'll lead to some losses in there, which is fine. So yeah, that led me to 59-23, which I think is a fair record position prediction for Boston. I think I'll put them 1 or 2 in the East.
There's always going to be the surprise. The surprise losses. It'll happen.
You got to predict them. You got to. All right. Next thing, Jrue Holiday talk. I've seen this a lot on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and I think you linked a something
whole article
as well. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, The Athletic did an article on it 2 hours ago. Wow, that's interesting. Is Jrue Holiday a Hall of Famer? I've seen it a lot. I've seen an Instagram post that was like, I forget where they were calculating it, but it was like Hall of Fame percentage chance, whatever, and they had like DeAndre Jordan as a more likely Hall of Famer than Jrue Holiday, and it was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, hello. So my question to you is, 1, is Jrue Holiday Hall of Famer? And 2, why do so many people think he's not?
So many people think he's not a Hall of Famer because, well, he never really was like the guy on a wildly successful team. He has been a key guy on numerous successful teams. But what I've seen of this is people really feel like he's like a fringe guy, and if they let him in, then they have to let a lot of the fringe guys that didn't get in, and people are afraid to open Pandora's box with it.
Well, but that doesn't make sense to me because I'm looking at this page. Like Basketball Reference does, let me calculate the percent, and they give Jrue Holiday a 1.6% chance of getting in the Hall of Fame. And they give Celtics Isaiah Thomas a 7% chance. And that doesn't make any sense.
Isaiah Thomas.
That doesn't make any sense. So again, context, Jrue Holiday's 1% chance getting in the Hall of Fame, 1.7. Some other guys, Domantas Sabonis, 6.7% chance. Karl Anthony Towns, 22% chance. DeMar DeRozan, 46% chance. John Wall, 33% chance. What are we doing?
What is Holiday at?
1%.
1%?
Yeah, you weren't listening to what I was saying. You were.
I heard the rest of it. I got a message I had to get back to. Holiday 1%. John Wall 33%. What are we fucking doing?
This is what I was saying. This is exactly what I was talking about.
I actually don't think Instagram should get to talk about basketball.
No, this is Basketball Reference. Basketball Reference. Their calculations, yes, their formula that they made. Damian Lillard has a better chance.
You know what it is? They must use like all-star selections to determine this, and MVP votes and stuff.
Well, they can't use MVP because Dame has a better chance than Jokic. I can read you the calculation. They have a whole thing like building a model, blah blah blah. The list of predictor variables is height, NBA championships, NBA leaderboard points, NBA peak win shares, NBA All-Star game selections. Example: Tony Parker. We'll go through an example. Blah blah blah. Height was something. NBA championships, he got 4, et cetera, and it happened, and it gave him a 94% chance. And obviously he got in. I think if Jrue Holiday doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, It doesn't make much sense to me. 2-time All-Star, 2-time champ, 6-time All-Defensive player. Like, I get he wasn't like the guy often. I think he was like a top 2 player on one of those Philly teams that made the playoffs. I think he was a top player on those
In New
Pelicans
Orleans
teams
for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a top 3 player on multiple championship teams. I get the All-Star selections is a big thing. I don't know. I think maybe it comes down to the All-Star selections. He only has 2, and that'll keep him out maybe. But
Let
I
me
feel
let
like
me take a look at this.
1%'s a bit crazy.
So my
yeah.
feeling on this is that the reason why Jrue Holiday is being neglected so heavily, not just by Basketball Reference's formula, but also like the public, is because his 6, 7 seasons with the Pelicans are like a big dark spot. Nobody gives a fuck about the Pelicans. Nobody pays attention to the Pelicans. The Pelicans don't get any discussion in media coverage. Like nobody is paying attention to the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Had he
Also,
been
yeah.
all of those Pelicans teams, let's just say had same team, same players, just put him in Philadelphia, probably much higher of a chance of people respecting him as like a Hall of Fame level player. Because in those seasons in New Orleans, he was a first team all defense player, all defensive second team player. He finished 7th in defensive player of the year voting in 2018. And he was a 6th man of the year competitor, I guess, in the 15-16 season. He had very solid numbers. He increasingly improved throughout his time with the Pelicans. I can just click playoffs on Basketball Reference. They made the playoffs twice in New Orleans. I don't know. He probably should get more credit.
Also, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame. Does have 2 gold medals. Also something to note. I just Googled the worst players in the Hall of Fame. Mo Cheeks is a 4-time All-Star, 5-time All-Defense, 1-time champ, and he's in the Hall of Fame. That doesn't make a ton of sense. Bill Bradley's a 2-time champ, 1-time All-Star. He's in the Hall of Fame. That doesn't make much sense. I don't know, man. I think it's definitely he should at least be better than 1% chance at making the Hall of Fame. That doesn't make any sense to me.
There are a lot of layers of like guys making the Hall of Fame that people don't feel like they should have made the Hall of Fame because there's the Basketball Hall of Fame element rather than just the NBA Hall of Fame. Like Tony Kukoc is in there. Also, not for nothing, Jokic having a lower percent than several people. The reason Tony Kukoc is in the Hall of Fame is a European, like, generational talent. Like, he was huge for paving the way for European basketball. The fuck's Jokic doing?
I think, well, Tony Kukoc paved the way for Jokic, et cetera, et cetera.
What I'm saying is
he's also like
Jokic is doing that times a billion. He's won 3 MVPs.
The NFL season is almost here, and as much as we love Celtics basketball here at How About Them Celtics, I love watching Pats games in person. I saw the Chiefs game this past year. They kept it close for some of the game, but then Taylor Swift took over the Jumbotron, and the Chiefs ended up winning that one. But make sure you are ready to use Game Time. Game Time is the best place to find your tickets for all live sporting events, concerts, everything like that. I saw Noah Khan in concert recently too, and you know Game Time is the place to be. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You look at some of the games on Game Time right now, and there's plenty of good stuff. The Diamondbacks are getting ready to play the Red Sox soon. The Red Sox are gearing up for a potential playoff push. Hopefully they can get out of the wild card. And make sure that you have Game Time to get your tickets for all of those. I love the fact that you can filter out fees, or filter in fees, I should say, so you know the exact price you are paying on Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest priced, guaranteed. I get it, but there's also like an argument like Tony Kukoc was like one of the first, like being one of the first guys. I think is significant. Tony Kukoc also has like a wildly successful overseas career to back it. Like
there are plenty of guys like that. I'm not saying he shouldn't be in, but when he was inducted in like the European wing. Like it was
yes.
Yeah, it was like a special induction.
I get it, but I do think there's a difference between what Kukoc did to what Jokic is doing. Obviously, Jokic is doing it as on a more successfully and at a higher level, but there is a significance to being the first. Like Kukoc was one of the first European guys to make it over, to come over, to be successful over here. And so while like Jokic is doing it at a higher level, like I do think it's more significant to European basketball what Kukoc did for them than what Jokic is currently doing.
I mean,
that's
sure,
what
that's not
paving
really what I'm saying. Like what I'm saying is, if people don't think Jokic is going to get in the Hall of Fame over some of these guys, like
no, he will
have a special European selection.
He's obviously
regardless.
He's obviously
retired today and get it.
I mean, when I said he is not as high as Dame, Jokic is still 98%. Like he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but it is just I don't know. Like let's look at some other guys. Jason Tatum's 32%. He's less than Luka. You want to put that into context for you? Donovan Mitchell has a better chance than Jrue Holiday. Trae Young has a better chance than Jrue Holiday. Devin Booker has a better chance than Jrue Holiday. DeAndre Jordan has a better chance than Jrue Holiday.
DeAndre Jordan's a weird one. I get it. He was like a first-team All-NBA guy, but he was also a center at a time when there weren't that many great centers.
Got a ring.
He's won a championship with Denver. Like, I get it, but Holiday has 2 championships as a starter on championship teams.
I agree with you. That's why I think it's crazy. But alas, I don't know. It is what it is. All right. Next thing, last Celtics thing before the email. Jaylen Brown is back to doing weird underwater workouts that I don't really understand. But I'll pull up the pictures and we can take a look.
Yeah, Jaylen posted some pictures of him dribbling a basketball underwater, which I'm not entirely sure how it works. Lifting weights underwater, doing like reverse pull-ups or something. One, I have no idea how the hell he holds his breath. I'm getting lightheaded looking at the pictures when I pull up the tweet. That man is legitimately pushing his body while not being able to breathe. That's insane. I saw somebody, let me look at this. Look at this. This man he's doing bicep curls while dribbling a basketball underwater, which essentially probably works in a similar way, but the ball coming up is far more forceful because it's trying to go up instead of down. I mean, look at this. He's doing squat jumps.
This is 2 years
with
ago.
Weights. Okay, that's 2 years ago, but still. So I looked into this. I was like, why is Jaylen doing underwater workouts besides like posting pics and being, look how hard I am? Like, nobody can do this. So apparently doing any kind of exercise in water is a great way to get more resistance while doing the same amount of work. So you're lifting weights, but the weights are actually heavier. Dribbling the basketball is harder to control, all of those things. But more importantly, it's a good way to put your muscles to work without actually putting pressure on the joints and bones. This is the important part because a lot of people talked about this when the pictures were posted this week. Like, people are making fun of these workouts and saying like, it's ridiculous. It's just like an attention thing. But like, Jaylen Brown, 1, didn't get hurt last year. 2, played deep into the playoffs and didn't look tired in the slightest. That's important. Those kind of endurance type qualities come from putting yourself through trials like this. Like, it's no joke.
Yeah, it's still like random. Like, it's still weird.
Oh, sure.
From a perspective of like, you don't see it a lot. But I mean, obviously, if Jaylen's doing it, he believes that it is going to significantly help his overall health and durability, I guess is the other word. So it's just cool that he's doing it. And also, who cares? Let him do what he wants. He makes millions and millions of dollars. I was about to say $1 million is like a hyperbole. Then I realized he makes far more than that.
He makes $1 million, but a bunch of maybe every game.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go to the email. Reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. We check it every single pod, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Appreciate you. First from RJ, some RJ news. Evening, folks. A little update on the personal front for you. Work goes well. We just launched a mandated site update for our members. I work for a local realtors association. And thanks to lots of outreach to educate folks about what was coming, it went more smoothly than anyone could have imagined. And as in, quote, the users read the documentation before calling for help. Good for you, RJ. Home life is good too. Our kiddos visited family in Canada this summer and are getting ready for 7th grade. They will most likely be in school by the time you read this. Everyone is healthy. Hell yeah. Good luck on the school year.
What a time.
On the part
7th grade. 7th grade was maybe my favorite year of school.
Why?
Because here we did elementary school for 6 years back in my day. It's not like that anymore, but it used to be 6 years of elementary, and you would go to middle school for 7 and 8, and then you would go to high school.
Ooh, that is weird. Our schools used to do 1 through 3, 4 through 6. Well, it was just like this. It's still elementary school in 4 through 6, but it's different school. Like you'll do school at it. Like there's a school. Yeah, there's a school for 1 through 3. Or when I was in elementary school, there were 3 different schools in the town for 1 through 3. There were 2 different schools for 4 through 6. And then there was 7, 8, 9 in middle school. And then the high school was just 10 through 12. But then I was the last year of 3rd grade being in that lowest tier of schools. And then after me, there was K through 2, 3 through 5. Then it was the normal 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12 in the high school.
So your high school did not have freshmen for like when your dad went to school, you didn't have a freshman year.
My dad didn't go to school in the same town, but yes, before years and years ago. So it would be like 2010, 2000, whatever, or no, 2005 or something. It was just, yeah. I was actually looking at my old yearbooks yesterday. That's funny. I'll have to pull it out.
But 7th grade was the first year we went to like a school where we weren't in the classroom all day. Like we went to you go to like science class and math class. Like
yes,
you actually had to walk to different rooms. And it was just like really
Same
fun
here.
because you would have like different kids in your classes. You get to know more people.
Yeah,
like my city had 3 high schools at the time, and we had 6 or 7 elementary schools feeding into the one middle school. So like you were meeting all these new kids, and like it was a really fun time to be at school. So
we did the same, except I don't want to say scammed us, but they put us in like teams. So there's like red team. It was like red team, blue team, something else team. And so you went from classroom to classroom, but the same fuckers were in every one of your classes anyways.
Yeah.
Like, so it didn't.
Don't worry about it. I was an honors student, believe it or not. So I was with all the honors kids. And
me too. I will say I was too. And then after 10th grade, my mom let me drop out of honors. Like I didn't do honors math and what did I do? Math and English. I dropped out of honors, and it was fun. It was the best thing ever because then I was just like, I went from being like an average honors kid to like a fucking god.
Yes,
in this shit
that happened to me
when
I was a senior in high school.
Yeah,
instead of for whatever actually, it technically happened to me in junior year because I was in like regular chemistry and I was like real good at it compared to everyone else. And then I was in physics my senior year, and I remember my physics teacher took me aside one day. He's like, why are you in this class? I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you get this so much easier than other people. I'm like, I don't know. They just put me in here. Like,
you did physics senior year? We did physics freshman year at my school. So I did freshman year physics.
It was weird because honors kids, I think, did physics sophomore year. I was at Joe Missoula's high school for my first 2 years of high school. So the curriculum was different. The class levels were different. So I kind of got forced out of honors sooner than I would have.
We did freshman year physics, then bio, then chem junior year, and then whatever senior year. I had like AP bio my senior year, which is terrible. I fell asleep in AP bio all the time. What else was I going to say? But yeah.
7th grade, probably the best year of school, maybe junior.
7th grade was good. High school's all right. Anyways, thank you, RJ. On the personal entertainment front, I made it to the World Series for my baseball replay league, only to be betrayed by an offense that hit 1 home run in 6 games, much like the 22 Celtics. I lost at home, going down 4-2. What is a baseball replay league? Baseball replay league. I got to Google this.
Baseball replay league.
I don't know what this is. You're gonna have to clarify for us, RJ, in the next.
Is that like on like the Xbox?
I have no idea.
Imagine if RJ's an online MLB The Show league. That'd be crazy.
Oh, a variant of poker in which cards with baseball-related values have specific significance. I don't know if that's what it is, but that is what dictionary Wikipedia is telling me it is. Let us know. Finally, have a link to some of my other hobby, photography. I mostly shoot burlesque, belly dance, and other cabaret shows with a smattering of local historic fairs and studio shoots. The link even contains some basketball-related pics. You might want to avoid checking the link out on a work computer. Nothing naughty is visible, but people's bosses might not approve. Feel free to display some of the video if you'd like. That's all for now. Be well, everyone. RJ. Let me scroll through and see if I can find any good shit for us. Let me take a look at some of this photography.
Okay.
This is good. Let's see. Let me find some. I'm going to find the basketball one so it's relevant. Let me see. This is sick.
How many are there?
Let's
Several?
see. Yeah, there's a lot of pictures. I don't see any of the basketball ones, though, so I don't know where that is. But this is dope, RJ. We will... Thank you. Oh, I see one basketball-related one, but I'm not going to show that on YouTube.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you, RJ. Next one, X-Men versus the Dancing Bear. Morning, folks. With the news that Guerschon Yabusele is signing with the Sixers, who do you think will log more minutes this season? Yabu in Philly or Tillman in Boston? I ask because I'm certain the immediate reaction of Celtics Twitter will be, why didn't Brad sign him? X is the answer. Bonus question, what do you think? Which of them do you think will contribute more to their respective team success? Be well, RJ. That's a good question. I think Yabu might get more minutes per game, but I don't know. That is a weird question. I don't really know the answer.
I think Yabu has more room because it feels like Philly doesn't have the rotation set in stone yet. Like Tillman's going to have a lot of opportunity early in the season with Porzingis out. His game is more versatile than the other two big guys, so he could fit into more lineups. He can serve as a stretch big. He can guard pretty well on the perimeter too. And he's almost trying out to be like the Al Light. So he may have more of an impact on the team, but I don't think that Philly signed Yabusele just to have him sit and watch on the bench.
Well,
I think him
that's
and
my
Caleb Martin
only
may be in a bit of a competition for the minutes off the bench.
That's my only concern because we don't know at all what Yabu's role could be in Philly. We kind of know what Tillman will do in Boston next year. We just don't know how much. So I don't know. I think it'll be pretty even by the end of the year, but I think, like Sam said, Yabu probably has a little bit more room to grow. Thank you, RJ. All right, last email from Philip. Tatum's direction. Fellas, thank you for the summer content. It may be the low tide of NBA news, but it's your channel's time to stand apart. I believe I originally subscribed last August. Thanks, Philip.
Nice.
I've been gently dragged to some summer barbecues with random neighbors and colleagues, and inevitably everyone wants me to talk about Tatum. Starts with the Olympic snub. As the beers go down, it always degenerates into the same discussion on his place in the NBA hierarchy and how Ant is the future of American basketball. Shrug. After a lot of salty discourse and delicious barbecue, I came up with what I think are the most interesting questions about JT. One, assuming he has potential for growth, what areas could he possibly improve? What area is he actually likely to improve? Could any areas degrade? I think he can improve his shooting from last year because it was
make
terrible.
threes. Step one.
I think his playmaking still has room to improve, even though it was really good last year. And I think he can just be a little bit better moving off the ball. And I don't think that's all him. I think the Celtics can do a better job of setting him up for that. But I think those three areas are the best. And I don't really think he'll degrade necessarily in any areas. I just don't see that. Maybe his defense, but I just don't think he'll let that happen.
Yeah, so for me, I think he can definitely improve shooting wise. Jack's absolutely right. Good take. But I think he really is likely to improve just like mentally, maybe like the wrong word, but he may realize now he's like, oh, fuck, like I'm bigger and stronger than everybody. Like I can just go to the basket and finish and really score in the most controlled, efficient way at the end of games and put pressure on the defense that way. Like I think if his decision-making, his thought process slows down a little bit when the clock is under 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, I think Tatum can go up maybe to a new level, maybe not a new level, but you can feel like he is the dominant best player on the court and really trust him when the Celtics are in a tight game instead of being like, I don't know what to think. I think they're going to lose. And then you're like me and you're betting against them on your betting app just in case they do lose and you don't want to get your feelings hurt.
Sorry, that really sounded like a pause to me. I thought you were going to keep going. I got pumped. Yes, I think shooting is the biggest thing for me, and I think everything Sam said makes sense as well. 2, are we sure that Joe is using Tatum the right way? Do Joe's schemes, though effective, narrow Tatum's potential for growth? Alternatively, are Joe's schemes too broad to fully leverage Tatum's strengths? Yes, but it doesn't matter. I think Joe's schemes are to help the Celtics win a championship, and while that won't help Tatum put up MVP stats that everyone wants to see him put up, it's going to be the best for winning, and I don't think anything else matters to Tatum or Joe or anybody on the Celtics. And so, while you're not going to see Tatum put up Luka numbers anytime soon, I don't think that's what the Celtics are going for. And in turn, you might not see the growth that fans want to see in terms of looking at super cool scoring numbers. That's just not going to happen. But that's what works best for Boston to win games.
I think something you pointed to earlier is a great answer to this question, which is the Celtics don't exactly put Tatum in the best positions to work off the ball. When he was playing in the Olympics, a lot of the criticism about Tatum from the national standpoint, national fans, whatever, was, oh, he really feels like he needs the ball in his hands. He looks out of rhythm when he's playing without the ball. And while that's kind of true, like Tatum is not entirely to blame for that. The Celtics just don't really use him in a way where he's playing off the ball. And realistically, they have enough talent where they could do that more. They could run more off-ball movement for Tatum. They could have him cutting to the basket on back doors. They could have him coming off screens to catch and shoot or get downhill. If they did that, I think it would take a lot of the focus off of him from the defense. It'd be a good way to kind of lighten the load on his creation and how much he actually is responsible for. And it could even help maximize some of the rest of the guys and giving them an opportunity to be the guy with the basketball. Somebody like Jrue Holiday, not that he needs it, but has proven he can be a primary ball handler and help distribute the ball. If you're running stuff for Tatum without the ball, you can give Holiday a chance to create and go that way. Doesn't mean you have to, doesn't mean it's the best avenue, but I do think Tatum benefits from being off the ball and being used that way and getting a feel for it.
Something I wrote for Houdini today too. I think Pritchard should get the ball more, and so having Tatum play off the ball help with that. Like
True.
giving him more responsibility will help plan for a future where Jrue Holiday inevitably retires, where he'll be more than just the seventh man on the roster. I just think Pritchard should take a step up next year, and having Tatum play off the ball will help with that. Last question from Philip. Are we sure that Tatum wants to become a superstar with an expanded role like Luka etc? Could the latest evolutionary stage of the NBA be one that leans away from the top end talent more towards depth and the team of shooters? 100%. And I think the Celtics winning a championship this past year proves that. You had the Suns load up with top end talent. You had the Mavs get to the finals with a superstar heliocentric type offense. You have other teams around the league focus on that. And yet the Celtics are the champions and the favorites to repeat. And the Knicks are a team that are up there in Eastern Conference conversations. And I know Jalen Brunson is heliocentric, but they have great depth, and that's part of the thing that they've been building. You have the Nuggets who have a heliocentric team, but then there's like the Thunder who have Shea and a bunch of depth. Like I just think depth is going to be the way forward in the NBA, and having I think the Celtics are unique in the sense that I don't think many teams are capable of putting together a basically 5 all-star starting lineup just purely for CBA reasons. But I do think depth is going to be the way forward. A better team concept is going to beat out stars. And I think the Celtics prove that. And I don't think Tatum cares too much about the superstar conversations anymore now that he knows that this formula works in winning a title.
I think that Tatum is not the only player being a figurative use of the word, not literally player in this situation. I think, Jack, you make a good point about the CBA. Like the question here is less about Tatum playing on the basketball court. I think as like supporters of the Celtics, we should all want him to become the best player he can possibly be. Being that best player you can possibly be doesn't necessarily come with an expanded role. And the evolutionary stage of the NBA that we're in, absolutely, you're right, Philip. Like it is moving away from a big three and more so just having your team be some well-rounded squad of guys that everybody within it trusts each other and knows that they can depend on one another when push comes to shove. And Jack mentioned it. That's why the Celtics were so great this year. Guys would be out. Guys would be resting. You could still trust somebody like Holiday to go in there and play like his old self, or Peyton Pritchard to come in a game and make a big shot in the third quarter that will be one of his only baskets of the night. The trust within the Celtics is important. And because of the way that the salary cap works, you cannot want your top guys to be worse, but you should want them to be more willing to take on a sacrificial role. Where Tatum last year didn't need to take every shot, and he was more willing to move the ball, and it looked nothing like the guy that had to play in 2021 when the team was a lot more, unfinished, and he had to do everything. Like, Luka has to do everything. And it's partly because that's the way the team's set up, but also, like you saw in the finals, the rest of the team isn't very good, so he has more responsibility on his shoulders. And if you're paying that guy, you want him to be able to handle that. But ideally, the rest of the guys can chip in too.
Yeah, I think Tatum's comfortable where the Celtics are at, and I think it's the same the other way around. Philip says, I'm excited to hear your thoughts because I'm not sure Tatum even knows where to go with this game. All the best, Philip. I think Tatum would be just fine. I think the Celtics are in a good spot, and I don't think he necessarily cares about all the shit that's been said about him this summer, at least from a perspective of I don't think he's going to change his game significantly to like conform to that. I think he'll just keep doing him. All right, let's go to the NBA section. We don't have much to talk about here, but we'll start with something from Mark Stein about LeBron and the Warriors. According to Mark Stein, said league sources say that the reported talks between the teams, i.e. the Lakers and the Warriors, at the time never got that far, in large part because Rich Paul was adamantly opposed to the idea of James swapping Southern California for Northern California. Sources say Paul implored both teams to scrap the concept, despite some owner-to-owner dialogue between Joe Lacob and Jeannie Buss, and Green's determination to lobby James to push for relocation to the Bay Area. I assume that's Draymond, largely because he wanted to insulate James from potential backlash over switching teams for the fourth time in his career. Interesting. If this came from like Rich Paul putting it out there, I probably wouldn't put it on the sheet, but Mark Stein reporting it probably means it was a real thing that happened.
Yes.
We've seen a lot of what if Steph and LeBron played with each other. I think that'd be fun. I think the Warriors would be obviously a lot better if LeBron was on the team, but interesting that Rich Paul put it to a stop because he didn't want LeBron's whatever to be affected by it. I think the Warriors probably would have been top 3 team in the West if LeBron was on the team with Steph Curry, but interesting.
They'd be the number 1 jersey selling team maybe ever.
By far. Yeah, not close. Yeah, of course.
Oh, man, I would hate that team.
Yeah.
I read this differently when it was first on the sheet. Rich Paul is low-key the good guy in this situation, but he's still annoying. He has too much pull in the league. It's a bad thing.
But yeah, LeBron almost joined the Warriors, but he didn't because Rich Paul
said
no.
It's a real shame that both the Warriors and Lakers just remain mediocre.
They both are mediocre. This is true. Shit teams around them constantly, which is it's crazy to me. Like, how do you put this consistently like wrong of a team? Like, I get it a little bit for the Warriors. Like, you had this plan and it didn't work out, so now you have to shift. But the Lakers, like, they tried the veterans, that didn't work. Then they tried let's get, let's bring in Russ and a bunch of like project players, that didn't work. Then you try whatever the hell last year was because you like Austin Reeves, that didn't work. And then you do nothing this year. It's like, what the fuck? What's the plan here? Like, what?
There is no plan. LeBron's pulling the strings. He's telling them what to do. They've traded almost all of their draft picks, so they can't really go in that avenue and bring in young talent. One, he's having them waste draft picks on his kid, and 2, they don't fucking have any. So now they have to resort to trying to lure guys off.
They do
of
have
teams
draft picks. They don't have many, but they can trade draft picks.
They don't have. I'm not saying they can. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they don't. You said it. They don't have many draft picks. That's the point.
but they have tradable draft picks. Like, they can trade.
I'm not saying they should trade the draft picks. I'm saying they should use the draft picks and start to like actually get players that are within their system, because the way the NBA is moving.
Well, they did that in part, I guess, but
the way the league is moving, you're not going to be able to just land guys in free agency anymore. That's just not how it works. You have to be able to develop your own guys. That's how you avoid getting punished or at least restricted heavily by all of the new CBA rules. You just can't go out and do what the Lakers have always done. And as Bill Burr always says, steal everybody else's players.
It's true. Yeah. Dalton Connect's a good start, but like all of these whiffs in free agency, like on the fringes, is just brutal time after time. Like, so many teams hit on these like minimum contract players. You're like, you get a good guy, these trades, but like, it just seems like everything they do is like whiff. It's brutal to watch unfold, considering like clearly how talented LeBron and AD still are at this point in their careers. But
I also think there is like a stigma around the Lakers now where back like probably 8, 9, 10 years ago, like it was like LeBron unequivocally makes his teammates better. It's very easy to play with him. Now, some of that's probably still true, but I think too many people believe it and buy into it. Like, you still have to be good enough to be serviceable out there and knock down threes. And
yes,
you know,
I think
like,
that's the thing. Yeah,
they're
LeBron,
just getting anybody in there. They're like, fuck, anybody could fit
Yeah.
in and play with LeBron.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. And it's like,
Le-
nah, not true.
LeBron still absolutely makes his teammates better, but it's only to a certain point, and it always has been.
Trading-
Like, oof.
Having 2 deals on the table, one of them for
Bad.
Russell Westbrook and
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of them for Buddy Hield, who is notorious for only being a 3-point shooter. And
Yeah.
being like, we'll take the guy that shoots off the side of the backboard is nasty work.
That summer was just a mess. Even if they had made the Buddy Hield trade, that summer still would have been a disaster. You're telling me you'd trade Kuzma, KCP for Buddy Hield?
What did they end up getting for
Awful.
Kuzma?
He was the Russ trade.
Oh, he was the Russ trade. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
right.
saying it would have been Kuzma, KCP, and there's somebody else in the deal.
KCP was in that trade too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was a bad trade regardless of what trade they made. They just made the worst of the 2 trades on top of that. Like, it was Kuzma, KCP, and Herro and a 2nd-round pick for Westbrook, and it could have been that same package for Hield and Marvin Bagley. Both trades are bad.
Bagley would have been a brutal pickup, but Hield
Not
would
to
have been
mention
okay there, I think.
Hield would have been fine, but I'd still rather have KCP and Kuzma. They were just too eager to jump the gun after one
ultimately you're right.
one like
I was thinking between the 2 trades, but like Kuzma's turned out to be somebody who, if the Wizards weren't the bottom of the bottom, would probably be respected more around the league, and KCP was a key piece for the Denver championship team, and now they've lost him. It's a major
Kuzma's a damn
point.
good player. I know it's the Wizards, but he averaged 20 points on relatively.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a great rebounder. Yeah, it's crazy. Not to mention, let me see. Hopefully, I'm right. Let's see. What did that 2nd-round pick turn into?
Oh, it'd be great if it was Bronny.
I want to see. No, it was a 2021 2nd-round pick, and it turned into.
Was it
Let's
Reeves?
see. No, well, no. The Lakers traded it to the Wizards. So I'm trying to see what it turned into after. Excuse me, they traded it.
Pittsburgh or something.
Los Angeles. Let's see. Why don't I see this? Okay, I can't seem to find it. Traded to Indiana from to Detroit. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere. It might have been Luka Garza.
You take a look at this.
I can't find it because the Wizards. I don't think the Wizards made the pick either. I think it changed hands
August
so many
6th.
times.
The Wizards traded. Okay, so that's not it. Let's see. This basketball reference trade is far too long. Hold on. I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna read the whole thing. No, you
don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. It was Tristan Vucevic, I think. But that was 2023. Yeah. I think it just switched. I switched from a 21 pick to a different pick.
Okay.
So I think
all right.
Vucevic or Koloko. I don't want you to read that whole blog. Absolutely.
You see it though, right? You see how
please
this thing is like almost enough to publish like a whole like Houdini article. That's how many words it is.
Yeah, you don't gotta do that. All right. Anyways. Next thing, sticking with the Lakers here. Pat Bev recently told a story on his pod about how Darvin Ham came up to him in Vegas and apologized to him. He said, and I'll read the quote here. I'm in Vegas. I'm gambling. I see Coach Ham walk past. Mind you, I ain't seen Coach Ham on a personal level since I left Lakers. Coach Ham come up to me and said, "What up?" He said, "Can I get 5 minutes?" He said, "I just want to let you know, Pat, that I apologize. You was right. We needed to practice more. Fuck that. We need to do more. Can't just win off talent." Basically said, like, Beverley suggested to him, like, we got to rep stuff. Like, if people aren't getting it, we got to rep it. People clearly aren't getting it. And Darvin Ham just didn't practice. And Pat Bev, like, admitted, he's like, yeah, I get it. On a team with LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, you're not going to fucking listen to Pat Bev. Like, you're just not going to do that. But basically, Darvin Ham went up to him and, like, said, my bad. You were right. We should have rep more stuff. I don't know. There's so much going on, blah, blah, blah. Like, you get it. Like, a lot. Like, in that position, so much pressure on you. It's tough. He also said, Pat Bev said Darvin Ham asked for Westbrook's number or Russ's number to go apologize to him too. It just sounds like the stuff was like messy in LA. So many personalities. Like, I can't imagine being Darvin Ham in that position. It's got to be tough, wanting to appease LeBron, wanting to appease Anthony Davis, wanting to get Russell Westbrook on the floor with the fans and ownership up your ass. Like, it's an impossible position to be in.
Nothing worse than trying to appease LeBron. Bottom tier NBA experience for sure. Another wrinkle to this. I know what the answer probably is, but it still is ridiculous when you read it out loud. He doesn't have the guys' phone numbers that were on his team.
Yeah, that is odd. It wouldn't surprise me if Russ like changed phone numbers at one point. Like
My guess
Probably.
is that they all have team issued phones that they use for team things like that to contact.
I didn't think about that. Maybe. It also wouldn't surprise me if Russ changed his number since then because he was getting a lot of shit then. So maybe somebody found his number and he didn't want to deal with that anymore. Regardless, it is what it is. Very interesting. Last NBA thing, or one of them, Tyler Herro is very confident in his Miami Heat moving forward. He says basically, watch out. We haven't been healthy. This is a quote. Where is this from? Do you know where this came from?
I don't remember. I saw it on one of the aggregate accounts. It was a real account. I swear it was. Wasn't Central. It was Central.
Forbes. He did an interview with Forbes, Matt Issa, and says, quote, we haven't been healthy yet, but we feel like when we do get healthy, we have a very deep team, a team that is deep enough to make a run in the East and ultimately win the title. Let's take a look at the Heat roster and see if we agree with that sentiment. I do think the Heat haven't been fully healthy in a while. I do think they just don't have a very healthy team, so take that what you will.
I think, well, over the last couple of seasons, having your two main pieces that you built around on purpose at the time, extending both Jimmy and Kyle Lowry at ages in their late 30s is probably not good for your team being healthy when the time comes.
Now, the Lowry contract was bad.
The Lowry contract was bad. The Jimmy one was way better than I thought at the time. I was like, that's a stupid contract. Why would you pay that? But now you've got Herro and you have Bam as the guys, and Herro is the guy that's just always hurt. He was hurt in the 2020
Hero's always
run.
hurt. Yeah.
He got hurt this year. He was healthy in the playoffs, but he got hurt during the season.
Yeah.
Bam is like the only guy on the Heat that you're like, that guy is durable.
Yep. I do think they're adding the right young pieces. Like, I think Herro, Bam, obviously, I think Kelly Ware is really good. I think Hawkes is really good. I think Jovic is better than people realize. So I do think they're building something better there. This is just not a roster that's going to win the NBA Finals unless Jimmy is healthy in the playoffs, and I just don't have enough to put my stamp on that and say, yeah, I agree.
Wendy said on TV today that watch out for Jimmy. Said people around the league should be so afraid of Jimmy trying to prove that he still has it.
I think the Heat are going to be better than consensus, just like they always are. I don't think they're better than a lot of these top teams in the East. I don't think they are.
Everybody's getting better, and they're just not. That's why.
Yeah, they're depending on this internal improvement, and it just hasn't been there yet. I think Hawkes will get better. I think Khalil Ware is going to be a really good player for them. Past that, I don't really know. We'll see what happens. I think Bam better be shooting threes this year. I'll be pissed for Heat fans if that motherfucker's not shooting threes. Better be. All right, Reddit post of the day. What do you have?
Reddit post of the day comes from the NBA subreddit from user DK Meg with 2Gs22 Pelicans Flare. Combine two role players who aren't all-star who combined would probably be an all-star. User goes, saw this on basketball TikTok, thought it would be a fun idea. Rules are no player who's been an all-star, an expected up-and-coming player like Wemby. They went with Jalen Suggs in Bol. Suggs' defensive tenacity would fix Bol's main issue, lack of hustle. Interesting. Herb Jones in MPJ. Imagine an MPJ who could also be an all-NBA defender and also get you almost 20 points a game.
That one is good. The Bol pick is absolutely terrible. It is horrible. Bol's not a good player. Just making him, that would basically just be like tall Jalen Suggs, which is a good player, but Bol doesn't bring anything to the table outside of his height. Like, that's stupid. That's a good question. I think Herb Jones, Michael Porter Jr. is the best like line of thinking, like really good defender with a really good offensive player. I don't know if I'd choose those two exactly. I think Herb Jones is a good one. I'm just like looking through and like seeing which players.
I feel like you have to naturally start with Derek White.
I thought of that, but he's almost too well-rounded, if that makes sense.
So
I'd rather pick two specialists.
I think if you're going to start with Derek White, then you have to start with, like, honestly, What if
do
you
you
just put Derek White and Peyton Pritchard together?
No, that's useless.
You don't think Pritchard's offensive creativity would
No, I
take
think
him to another level?
I think Derek White's a better, like the same, if not a better offensive player than Peyton Pritchard.
I just think Pritchard has like more of a ability to create his own shot.
But see, that's so minimal in terms of like what he adds to Derek White, and I think Derek White's probably right now a better shot creator than Pritchard, if anything, for more reps. Like you're talking about adding like a slight. Yeah, I was gonna say like you just picked two Celtics. Like I think that the what you get from adding Pritchard to Derek White is so minimal versus like Michael Porter Jr. is clearly like a great offensive player. Herb Jones is clearly a great defensive player. You combine them, like you're adding significant value to the other one. But I just don't know if you're necessarily doing that with those two guys. I'm like trying to look through this. Like I think Aaron Gordon's a good start because he's like great defender, athletic freak on that end, lob threat. Like I think that would be huge. But you got to find like maybe you do him and like who's like an elite shooter. Like him and Derek White might not be bad. Like then you get Derek White's offensive creation a little bit. You get his perimeter defensive skills. You get the body of Aaron Gordon. You get the athleticism of Aaron Gordon. Like maybe that would be a pretty good one. Josh Hart, I think, could be a good place to start. Great defender, great rebounder, good hustle guy. Then you just got to find like an offensive player that could sort of fit, like maybe him and Isaiah Joe. If you want to combine those two, probably be a pretty damn good player. I just feel like you pick two. If you want to go big man, you could go like Isaiah Hartenstein, Miles Turner, or Isaiah Hartenstein and like who's like the best floor spacing big in the league. Like,
what if you went like Miles Turner and Rob?
Yeah, that'd be good too. I think that'd be good.
But
Rob's you can get really weird and you can do real weird and do like Isaiah Hartenstein and Derek White. You want to be really weird.
So the best answer on Reddit, would you like to guess?
Oh man, are they players we've mentioned
comment yet? One is a player that I don't think we've mentioned, and another one is a general skill.
Is it just like Russ and shooting or something stupid like that?
It is DeAndre Ayton and anyone with a high motor. Anybody that likes basketball.
That is funny. I like that. Yeah, that's
somebody said
one.
DeAndre Ayton with the motor of Josh Hart is probably an all-time great big.
That is probably a really good big man. Yeah, that's a
good
one.
Shaedon Sharp's vertical, but put it on Nurkic. You've got yourself a flying turbo dunking machine.
Imagine you add Kevon Looney's rebounding and hustle to Miles Turner's shooting and versatility. That'd be a good one. Miles Turner's not a good rebounder at all.
I'm going with
Looney.
Matisse Thybulle and Sam Hauser. I'm actually not sure it's an all-star, but it'll be close. Sam Hauser's a good call. It's kind of a cheat code for this. Combined with any defense first player, and boom, you've got an all-star. Hauser, for what it's worth, is a very good like bench defender, but he's not quite on the upper tier
it's
defense.
Not the same. Ooh, you could do like Alex Caruso and somebody with like a better offensive shot, and like who's like the best bench, like Jordan Clarkson and Alex Caruso.
Somebody said really Cam Thomas and Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. That's a good question. It's interesting. All right. All right, Ratless. Do you have anything that jumps to mind, Sam?
Ratless is kayaking. So on Saturday, the lady and I went kayaking. So the thing about kayaking is it is far more difficult than it looks. When you're out there, it is a physical activity. It is exhausting. It's much like running in the sense that if you run somewhere, you also have to run back. You have to get back. You have to get back to where you started. So we're out there on the water. We're trying to like get out there. We're both tired. But at the same time, you are curious. Is like somebody out on the water, like you're like, oh, like what if we went over here? Like what if we looked at this? And so we were about to go out and around this area to see like the other side of the peninsula, pretty much. And so we're almost out to the outer coast, and we're like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do this. The waters, we're like, why don't we stop paddling and just see where our kayak ends up to see what the resistance would be like? When I tell you we got back to like the area where we were coming from in probably a minute, It was no joke. If we were trying to paddle in that, good luck. And then I got a blister on my thumb.
Ugh,
It's
blister's
work
no fun.
out there on the kayak.
Blister's no fun. I'll rat list my power. So I'm chilling here last night at like 2 a.m. like as I do, working. Whole house gone. See you later. Entire power's out. Entire street's out. Like it wasn't just my house. It was the whole like street. It was like pitch black, whatever. Didn't charge my phone. Phone is at like 15%. Disaster. Pissed off. I luckily plugged it into my laptop. My mom wakes up because like it's pitch black, like whatever. The dogs freak out or whatever. She texts me like, "Is it just your room?" I'm like, "No, it's the whole street." And she goes, "The outage map says 5:15." So this is like 2.5, 3 hours for me. Luckily, it came on after like an hour, so it was not nearly as bad as I thought, and I was fine. But I was not pleased. It was not a fun thing that happened to me last night. I was not happy about it.
You ever lose power for like multiple days?
I think the longest like a day and a half we lost power for.
Oddly enough, I think like when I was in 7th grade, since we already talked about it, one of those hurricanes came through and smoked us in Warwick. Not like where people lost their houses, but we like were without power for a while. When I tell you it was like 3 days, it was
Terrible.
awful.
Terrible.
All I was doing at the time was playing like PlayStation 3 with my friends. Like that's all I was doing. That was the worst experience I think I've ever had. People in the comments are going to be like, "Why don't you just fucking go outside and play?" It's awful. As a kid that couldn't play video games unless there was no school, I was losing some of my no school days to the hurricane. That's the biggest L.
It's a tough one. Losing no school days is not fun.
Did you have any restrictions like that on your video games?
What do you mean?
Like my parents wouldn't let me play Xbox if it was
yeah, up until like high school, and then I think it was like whatever. It was good. It didn't matter that much. I wasn't like overly obsessed. I played League of Legends in high school. I played like Xbox.
I all week thinking about getting to turn on my Xbox.
I played a lot of League in high school. I didn't really play Xbox as well. I still played Xbox, but I played more League of Legends than I did Xbox at the time.
Next rat list.
Thinking real hard.
I gotta say cooking, man. I hate cooking.
Really?
I like cooking with my girlfriend because it's like a fun thing we can do. But when you think about you could just order the food and have it and not have to clean anything up, the difference is far in like distant between. I despise cleaning up like pots and pans so much so that after I was like past the age of like my whole family would eat dinner together every day.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm an only child, so it's just me and my parents. Like there would be times like I'd like have basketball or whatever. I'd come home and like food had already been made. But if there was a day where it was like, hey, like we're gonna eat, like your mom made this, I'd be like, do I like this item enough to clean the pots and pans? Because like if my mom cooks, she doesn't have to clean the stuff. That's kind of like how it works. It's like a trade-off. A lot of times I'd be like, no, I don't like it that much. Now I think I've grown.
So you just tell your parents, no, I'm not eating with you?
I'd just be like, oh, like I'll be down later, whatever.
I see. Fair. We're a paper plate family, so we.
No, the paper plates are good, but you can't like cook on a paper plate. Like if she like makes chicken or something, and then it gets all like crusted to the side of the pan, you gotta try and scrape it off. Fucking.
Well, that's why you soak it right when you're done.
You do soak it. No, I'm aware of the soaking.
Yeah.
It's too long of a process.
I'll rat list myself. So I was cleaning my room the other day. My room got far too messy, and I just like neglected to realize that I just had like free money like all over. Like these are just gift cards that I just found like in my room. Like I have a Visa gift card, I have Starbucks, I have Dunkin', and I have the NBA store that I just found.
The NBA store. That's gonna be an old one because I feel like you're past the point where people are buying you NBA related gifts.
No, I'm definitely not. This has got to be this year.
Okay.
Past year. For sure. But yeah, I just found a bunch of shit in my room that I don't know. We'll see. Maybe like a sweatshirt. What else did I find in my room when I was cleaning? I found I don't know why these are in my room, but my family was looking for them. You know these like multi-tool things? They like have like the wrenches, so like little like the like Allen wrench. I found 3 of them in my room, and I don't know why I had 3 of them, but I know my family was
Just
looking for
hoarding
them.
them.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad because we were looking for them for a while, and I just had them all in my room. I don't think there's anything else fun in my room that I found. But I think that's about it. Oh, Rattlers Heights as well. So I went to this thing at Fenway called Upper Deck Golf.
Yes, you did. I saw.
You
Looked
saw
like a
it
good time.
on Danny's Instagram, maybe, or somewhere. Where did you see it? Where was it posted?
On your Instagram that you shared.
I see. I see. Yes. I'll pull up the picture here, but it's basically this thing around Fenway where you go around the stadium. It's like, excuse me, it's effectively Top Golf. Like
Yes.
they'll put like, circles in the outfield, and you hit into the circles from different points around Fenway in the stands. But for it, you go really high up in the air, and I am scared of heights. Do not like heights. Don't fuck with heights, right? And so we get up there, and like, I don't know what it was about it. I think it was like the fact that you had to swing forward and like the momentum like of the swing, like pushing forward. I was just like, I took a swing and I was like leaning back the whole time. Not about it. Didn't like it. Far too high up in the air for me. Like it was a cool experience, like seeing everything out there, whatever. It was like really fun. But this is a picture of it. Like objectively, just a really cool thing. Like a cool view,
Yes.
fun thing to do. Shitting my pants right here on the screen. Shitting myself. Terrible. Can't
Sweating.
do it. Yeah. What is that? Is that sweat? No, I think that's
No, I'm just.
I thought that
saying
was
you're
sweat on my shirt. I was like,
sweating,
what is
but,
that?
like, it didn't
Oh,
look
yeah.
like- I didn't think you were physically sweating.
But like it's a really cool thing. It was really fun. And the view, like obviously the view is really fun, really cool. But I was just like, once I got up here at this point, shitting myself. Terrified.
You came out
But-
the tunnel and you were like, "Oh my god, what did I say?"
But yeah, we
What
gotta
did I
climb all the
pay
way up
money
there.
for?"
We got to go across the monster, climb up there. Like it was a cool thing to like go and do, but I was like, oh shit. We're really high up in the air. But yeah, I don't got anything else.
I feel like I had something else. I need to start writing them down again. It's bad.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right. Well, in that case, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics, follow us on Spotify and Apple, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a like, comment, hit the bell. You don't want to miss any of our daily uploads. We have new content at 5 a.m. every morning, full pods, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps morning after each game, and other videos in between to keep you busy. Subscribe, leave a like, hit the bell. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All of our pods and recaps are up there for you. If you follow, they go right into your feed. You can leave us a 5-star review there as well. We'd appreciate that very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. You saw RJ and Phil get in the inbox today. You can join them. Send your thoughts on the Celtics. Send your questions. Send any rat lists you may have, hbtcpod@gmail.com. You can find our socials at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Facebook page is just the name of the podcast. All of our streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's Money NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Taco. Come on. Taco.